So our last storyteller before the break is a storyteller that we've had here a couple of times, and he has some amazing stories. He has an extraordinary gift for writing. He has an extraordinary gift for, I think self-deprecation is probably not the right word, but you'll hear what I'm saying. He's resting at the moment. He's a very gifted marketer, so if you know anyone who's looking for a terrific marketer and communications expert, I'm happy to plug him. And please welcome to the stage Mr. Dane Heiser.
I've always been rather unlucky in the race of love. Pipped at the post by a horse that is stronger, faster, fitter, leaner, smoother, and has a bigger penis. I've always been pipped at the last moment. Often, I haven't even made the race. I've just been stuck at the starting gates, otherwise known as the friend zone, which we're all familiar with. Now, I've been rather unlucky in the sense that we know how debilitating childhood crushes can be. How much an affection for someone can plague your every thought, moods, interactions and daily thoughts, not only with that person, but with other people all around you. It's just intense, and it causes way too much trouble and confusion for my tiny little mind to handle. Anyway, I have somewhat of an obsessive personality. The kind of personality that should get me put on lists. And when I get fixated on someone I have an affection for or think I have an affection for, it puts the blinders on to the other rabbits I can chase around the track, to use the horse racing analogy again. And I find that in life I spend so much time chasing after the rabbits that don't want to get caught by me that I get so consumed and overwhelmed with the chase that by the end of it I realise that just like in horse racing, the rabbit isn't real. Which is a really real thing to discover that, you know, what you're chasing for, the ideology, the thing you have in mind, is actually a figment and actually isn't real at all. So it's similar to horse racing in that sense. Now, I have a lot of female friends in my life. Because of that, it can often lead to the point where, on more occasions than I should have, I've gotten too deep into the friend zone and they haven't returned the feelings. And it's caused way too much confusion for me to handle. So now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty now. And I'm going to talk about some of the relationships and experiences I've had. And that's going to involve me referencing my crushes. And I don't want to name them because, quite frankly, they've been through too much. So instead, as each scenario is a race, I'm going to refer to them as different racetracks. When I moved from Pennant Hills to Penrith in year 6, I had a severe crush on Rose Hill. A blonde bombshell who took my breath away. And in year 10, Rose Hill, much to the surprise of me and everybody in the school, said yes to be my date to the year 10 formal. And I was stoked. I was ecstatic. So I spent the next 2 weeks fantasising about the big night and planning my travel, my outfit, and the all-important corsage for my princess to wear. So I'm excited, I'm pumped. I'm just like a kid at Christmas, except that I want to date my present. Which is a bit weird, but pretty funny. I got a call from Rose Hill 2 days before the big night. And she said, look, I can't make it because I have to work a shift at McDonald's instead. And that was devastating. I was gutted. And in that moment I realised that if she would prefer to work minimum wage in a hairnet, cooking chicken McNuggets for drunk bogans out the front of Penrith Panthers at 1 a.m. in the morning, then it probably wasn't going to work out. So I got on with that, I realised that, and I moved on. And then in years 11 and 12, I developed a crush that was even more debilitating and severe, if you can believe that. Her name was Caulfield. And on Valentine's Day, I sent Caulfield a rose and a letter. Oh, I'm a sweet guy. I really am. And a pen and 2 sheets of paper so she could write back. Seems a little creepy now. It really does. But after a couple of months of waiting, Caulfield finally did write back. Now, I'd been trying to arrange to go out with Caulfield for quite a while, and after months of changed plans, last-minute cancellations, and being stood up at the time, it looked like it was actually going to finally happen, that we were actually going to meet at the very classy Kingswood station. Because, you know, I'm a young man, that's how I roll. Anyway, I'm standing there waiting for well over an hour, and Caulfield doesn't show. And I'm about ready to accept a no-show. Then my heart skips a beat as her parents' car pulls up and she jumps out, only to give me a letter and jump straight back in the car. The letter said the usual, "You're a good friend and a great guy, blah, 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 but we can't hang out because I have a boyfriend that gets jealous of male friends." That was devastating as well. And then a few years later, a friend who didn't know Caulfield, had never met her, never went to school with her, ran into her randomly at a party, found out who she was, and told her that I still keep that very same letter. Which was harsh, I admit. But then a few years later, I awkwardly tried to kiss that friend on the neck in a movie theatre, so it all balances out. Then there was Ramwick, a girl who I had a crush for who didn't return the feelings. I think you can sense a little bit of a pattern here. There's a little bit of a current theme going through. And one night she had to break it to me, and that went okay. It went as well as that kind of thing can. But then, about 2 months later, I found out through a mutual friend that Ramwick was pregnant. And we were due to go out that week. We went to the State Theatre in Sydney to see the final taping of the original Good News Week. We're sitting in the theatre, we're waiting for the show to start, and Ramwick turns to me and says, "I've got some news to tell you." And I expect her to tell me that she is pregnant. But instead, she tells me that she is gay. Then bang, lights go down for a 5-hour show without a break. And I'm left to process it all. And yes, I think I turned my friend gay. Then there was the big one, Flemington, the race that stopped my nation. It was the longest, most severe crush I've ever had. It lasted nearly 15 years with a very close friend that occupied my soul, my life, and every inch of my being. And it was a very close and personal crush. After years and years and years of frustration and pent-up feelings, and holding back my feelings and tension, it finally all came out and very severely damaged the relationship. It was really dark and it was really full on, and it damaged not only the relationship but the trust that she had in me, because I'd held those feelings for so long. It was my number one fear, because we've all been in that situation, at least I hope. We've always been in that situation where you want to say something but you don't, because you're afraid that it's going to bring down the foundation that you've built and the very close relationship you have, which is very close and dear. And the last thing I wanted to do was jeopardise that, and I did, and it brought it all tumbling down. So then after months of, hard work and time, well, not months, years of hard work and just working at it and getting there, the friendship repaired. And we're now close friends again, which is great. Then a few years later, she too came out. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's a gift. What can I say? Bring them to me and I'll turn them. Whatever you need, whatever you need. A one-man turning facility, that's what I am. Then there were 3 other women I had a crush on. Again, patterns a go-go. I'm not going to go into detail, but one of them was a lady that I worked with and in fact managed. And that got really messy and ugly and put me through the ringer both personally and professionally. But oh, what a shame we don't have time to go there. Oh, that really is a shame. Should have had longer. Oh well, we don't. We'll kick on. But ladies and gentlemen, I've been pipped at the post many times by the friend zone, and for a long time I felt like I was unlucky. I felt like I was always losing, always being beaten. For about 5 to 7 years I felt like I was stuck in a rut. Still single, still unemployed, still living at home, and still in the same job. I felt like I was stuck and couldn't move, and I felt like it was all my fault. I felt like I'd failed, that I had a mission in life, and my mission was to, move through my teens, get my driver's license, which I still don't have, get on to the point where I'm married with kids and all that would happen by, 25, 30 or whatever. I'm now 33 and none of that's happened. But I got to the point where I realised that none of that mattered. And I don't remember the exact moment, but I realised that I was very lucky to have so many close relationships in my life that were very close and dear and personal to me. And in fact, a good thing that relationships can even lead to that. That you can even be so close to someone that you get into that situation means that you have really strong bonds with people. But you just need to tailor your approach to it and how you work. So I realised I was very lucky to have that. And then soon after that, I started doing comedy and started getting into another job. And I found I was way too busy and focused on doing what I love to dwell on any perceived notion of love that I was allegedly missing. So even now, I'm still single, and at the moment I'm unemployed and living at home. But I finally feel like I'm actually starting to win the race, and I'm actually happy. So thank you.
Mr. Dane Heiser. And if Canterbury is out there, come and see him during the break.